Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. Yes, Wednesday night. This is our Ask Brother Leonard Q&A section. So we're going to go into that after we do our moment of silence and prayer and songs. So I'm asking everybody to like and share, subscribe to the Prophets of Awakening channel, hit the notification button. For those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with Tanakh, the Old Testament, and the Torah. First 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses on Sunday. Shalom and welcome, Prophets of Awakening. We're going to do our moment of silence, our prayer, and our song. Okay? O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongeth unto thee. Therefore we come before thee at this hour, seeking thy face and looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before thee, as thy servant David, Solomon, Samuel, and Hezekiah did. For we desire to walk after thee, O Lord, keep your commandments and your testimony and your statutes with all our heart and soul, to perform the words of the covenant that was written down by your prophets. O Lord, allow thy face to shine upon thy people. Hear our plea, O Lord, and do. Hide not thy face from us, for we need you so very much at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay. Gonna read a song. 56, Psalm 56 is a confident prayer for help. Be merciful unto me, O God, for man would swallow me up, fighting daily oppressive me. Mine enemies would daily swallow me up, for they be many that fight against me, O thou most high. What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. In God I will praise his word. In God I have put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do unto me. Every day they rest my words. All their thoughts are against me for evil. They gather themselves together. They hide themselves. They mark my steps. When they wait for my soul, shall they escape by iniquity? In thy anger cast down the people, O God. Thou tellest my wanderings. Put thou my tears into thy bottle. Are they not in thy book? When I cried unto thee, then shall my enemies turn back. This I know, that God is for me. In God will I praise his word. In God will I praise his word. In God have I put my trust. I will not be afraid what man can do unto me. Thy vows are upon me, O God. I will render praises unto thee, for thou hast delivered my soul from death. Will not thou deliver my feet from falling, that I may walk before God in the light of the living? So that's Psalm 56, a confident prayer for help. Any comments on that? Okay. All right. So nobody have any comments. We're gonna go to current events. Anybody have any current events? Okay. Here we go.
China, that's what today's video is all about. I'm going to expose everything that's happening right now, things that are so key, so important for you to understand. And the first thing, we're going to look at the past. What has China done? What have they said they were going to do? The second thing is the present. Are they doing what they said they would accomplish? And what is happening right now? The third is the future, of course. What's going to happen in the coming weeks, months, and years, all of that and more. Let's begin. So let's flip back the pages of history, and you can see China telling its citizens to stockpile food as the controls are tightened. This was back in November of 2021. But let's go back a little bit further. Here you can see the suggestion is China hoarding food, gold, and other commodities in anticipation of a global collapse. That's just a question many have asked that. This was back in 2019. So you started to see, remember 2019, you started to see the purchase of a lot of different things, stockpiles, in fact, of many different things. And it really begged the question, what does China know? China hoards over half of the world's grain, pushing up global prices. This is brand new information. Well, December 23rd, 2021. Testing ties with the US and Australia could be prodding China to boost food reserves. This is really key to understand because it tells you what they said previously, what it looked like they were doing, and now here we are today in the present. Less than 20% of the world's population has managed to stockpile more than half of the world's globe's maize and other grains, leading to steep price increases across the planet and dropping more countries into famine. Now that's a lot of finger pointing, but the fact remains that they have been purchasing a lot of grain. Now, yes, population increasing, perhaps the demand is increasing, perhaps they have to deal with crop failures and maybe livestock problems and so on. Okay, fine. But the pace at which they are increasing is starting to really many people are starting to ask that question. What do they know? China's share of global grain stocks. You can see that. Maize, rice, wheat, soybeans, all increasing right now. Then you see this. China hoards over half the world's grain, pushing up global prices. I'm going to stop here for just a moment to ask you, do you believe that if countries are paying the prices that are set up, that they should be able to do this? That you don't have a problem with this? What would you do? What should you, as an individual, do? What are the actions you should take? Should you do what China's doing and start to stockpile? Or should it be just enough for what you need? Let me know in the comments below. According to data from the USDA, China is expected to have 69% of the world's maize reserved by the first half of the crop year 2022. It's also projected to have 60% of the world's rice, 51% of the wheat. Unbelievable, to say the least, isn't it? This is a big amount, right? Look at this, food imports by year, consistently, always increasing. Now, a lot of this is going from the US to China. They love their soybeans, and the US has provided that. But they've also gone to other countries, Brazil being one of them. They don't want to necessarily just have one partner, but you have this partnership because there are benefits to both sides. There's no doubt about that. But what's going on financially? PBOC, open market net injection. They're starting to do this again. We'll see if it's sustained, but essentially how much cash is being pumped out into the system from the central bank. And we need to see this at a time in which, I believe I have it right here, China's credit impulse. I have said this many times, believing that this could be one of the most important indicators. Because as you can see here, it tends to move and flow with what happens in the global economy. Here you can see this major decline. And the suggestion, we don't know yet, it will only come in time, that we...
Yeah, okay, so when I was listening to this, it sounds like to me, you go back to Joseph in Egypt. He knew a famine was coming. Mosiah had told him, the angels had told him that a famine was coming. And he ordered up all the grain and all that. So that's what they remind me of. They know something getting ready to happen, and they hoarding up all the grain and all the food. So it seemed like to me, like the guy was saying, it's a dead giveaway. Well, okay.
And too, No, that it ain't nothing new for China to stock up on food because of their all that trouble they've been having. But it seemed like a famine and war.
Right. Right. And they know it.
Right.
Yeah.
But the American government ain't gonna tell us nothing. See.
Right. Exactly. Is that something? They all working together. That's why. Okay. I'm gonna play this right here. I'm gonna break it down.
It's really important, I think, because when I just interact there is actually a program. I know, Dave, you've heard of John Levy and Martin Ledker, yeah? Yeah. Well, there was a program that put actually a video or a program on YouTube. I want to find it for you in a minute, okay? And you can see the Earth on the moon inverted, okay? Now, to back that up, Walt Disney, even Disney World, is based on the impregnation of the Earth on the moon. And Walt Disney just points out that there is a lot more land outside of Antarctica than what we know of right now. And you can see the shape of the Earth and beyond on the moon. When I find it, I'm trying to look through right now on my YouTube, on my TV. When I find it, I'll give you guys a link so you can have a look at it. But it's very, very interesting. So I'm glad that Dave brought that up, actually, because that really now is it's a very important revelation. It does give us a bigger idea, more of more of a broader angle on where we're living, and more emphasis on the Earth being flat, and we're not knowing exactly what the shape of the continents are and how big the actual Earth is. So I'll find it for you, that you guys know. Well, that's a good point, Dave. Nice one. I've put a link to that video in the chat, just in case anybody wants to check it out. But one of the other things that's interesting about it is it makes sense of how all this architecture, the main architecture,
Yeah. I think it's interesting that Dave brought that up. I can just make out the word architecture. And recently I've been hearing things about Tartaria and the Tartarian Empire and whatnot. It seems like there's been a movement of late. And what I find interesting is that there are these dated pictures in the late 1800s of major cities around the world: New York, Toronto, London, Paris, you name it. And they all seem uninhabited, as though these populations were newly moved into these cities. So I really don't know too much about it. I'm sure, Brother Devin, please go ahead.
I'll tell you what, we are now in an age, it's a second or a third phase now, whereby there's more truth being uncovered, okay? I've been watching things, what up until last night, about Tartaria, about mud floods, and that kind of stuff, okay? And also even about London Underground. London Underground is very, very similar to all the other undergrounds around the world, okay? And they are all mapped in exactly the same way. All the buildings from that time in the early 1800s are all the same all over the world. And if you guys have done any kind of research on star forts, have you heard about star forts before? Anybody? Who has not heard of a star fort? Right, okay. Well, these star forts are around the world, in different areas of the world. And on these star forts, the buildings that are on them are exactly the same buildings, whether in different parts of the world. All our buildings that we've got here in the UK, well, let's say here in the UK and in Istanbul, in Germany, Russia, all these buildings are the same. So if we've got lots of different cultures and different people, why are all these buildings exactly the same? You have Phoenician buildings with triangles on the top, and you have Tartarian buildings, which are more ornate, they're more artistic. but all of these buildings are the same, and they're all around the world. Now, when we were talking before about different civilizations and different world before this world, a lot of those buildings are mud flooded, whereby those buildings have been here or on the world a very, very long time ago. And the mud, which I wish Dave was here now, because when we're talking about mud floods, Dave refers to that as the flood. So basically, those buildings could have been here at the time of Noah or before the time of Noah, because the Most High did flood the world a few times before Noah's flood. He got rid of a few civilizations before the flood. So what I'm saying is, this new era now of uncovering these things has just re-emerged again. It's just started again. Hi, Dave. I was just talking about where's he now? Prince Israel. Yeah, he just mentioned about Tartaria and mud floods. Yeah, and also I just mentioned star forts, and that these star forts are all around the world. And we're in a new age now of more secrets that are being uncovered right now. I really feel now we're learning a lot more now about things post-vaccine. I think there's a new era now of more knowledge being uncovered. And Brother Prince there, bringing that up is very, very important, because it's part of it is to do with the beginning of civilization as we know it. Okay?
Okay. Any comments? Anybody ever heard of that? Mud floods? This information? You ever heard any of it? Okay. Okay. Yeah, so what I'm going to do right here is open it up for some questions and comments about anything somebody wanted to bring up, they want to get some clarity on. And I got a couple questions too that I'm bring up and answer. Anybody got anything? Okay, no questions? Okay, let me play this right here. It's about the reparations.
Hi, everybody. This is Michelle coming back again from Bob Rewards Club. Today, I'm going to be talking to you guys about a very subject that we need to discuss. I'm going to be talking to you about the Black agenda and the reparations piece. And this is falling under the American Descendants of Slaves. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the American Descendants ADOS movement. It was created, it's a movement. We've had several movements for reparations in America. And I'm going to kind of go over the history of reparations here today with you all and give a little history of something that's long overdue, talking about how we do deserve reparations, for what our ancestors have gone through slavery, what we have gone through as a people with this country. And so I hope that you guys will enjoy the conversation today. And if you feel like calling in, you may feel free to call in at our hotline, which is 888-665-5955. I also want to invite you all to join, share, and like this video. It is meant to be educational. So let me begin. So I want to kind of talk about this ADOS movement. Again, that's American Descendants of Slaves, is what that's the acronym for. And Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore are two Black YouTubers, okay? They are behind, they've been, kind of preaching this word and using that word ADOS now for a few years. And it has become a part of the Black agenda which I'm a part of this new Black agenda, okay? Where our number one thing is that we get tangibles, and tangibles meaning we get reparations. We are long overdue in this country for reparations. Okay, and this is a very, very sensitive, serious subject that has been overlooked way too long in this country. So I would like to share my opinion about it, as well as take you all through a little history here, okay? So, the reparations movement itself is slavery. When the so-called Christopher Columbus discovered America, he landed over in the Bahamas, okay, somewhere. And that was back in 1492, okay? Now, they needed people to, slavery was about economics, as you all know. So they traded us on the actual U.S. stock market. And I don't know if you guys know that. So I want to kind of share that with you right now and read to you a article by a brother. His name is... let's see what his name is here. The name of the article is called "Wall Street Was Founded on Slavery." The author's name is Adam Hudson, and you can find this at his website, adamhudson.org. I'm just going to scroll down to a part of it. So, slavery became the backbone of New York's economic prosperity in the 1700s. To normalize this massive trade in human beings in 1711, New York officials established a slave market on Wall Street. Slave auctions were held at Wall Street, selling African slaves as property to traders wanting to buy them. Between 1700 and 1722, over 5,000 African slaves entered New York, most who came directly from Africa, while the rest from British colonies in the Caribbean and Southern colonies. Okay, so many well-known companies and the financial institutions benefited from the transatlantic slave trade. They include Lehman Brothers, which went bankrupt in 2008, JP Morgan Chase, which is around and one of your bigger banks in the whole wide world, Wachovia Bank of North Carolina. Wachovia was bought by Wells Fargo when they had their banking crisis, 2011. Aetna Insurance, they're still around. Bank of America and the Royal Bank of Scotland. Banks such as Wachovia's predecessors, Bank of Charleston, South Carolina, the Bank of North America, and JP Morgan Chase's predecessors' banks made loans to slave owners and accepted slaves as collateral. Okay? When the slave owners defaulted on their loans, the banks became the new owners. So, there's a whole history of this country and these corporations that are around today that need to pay descendants of slaves reparations. The time is now. The time is up. Okay? And this is what we as Black people, we need to stay focused on. Number one, we need to get our reparations. This is 2019. Slavery ended in 1867. Okay? Now I'm going to play for you a little audio here to kind of give you some insight on what has happened. And this is a speech by Dr. Claude Anderson. And if you don't know who Dr. Claude Anderson is, I say Google him. He is the author of several books. One of them, his very famous speeches and book is named Powernomics, and he talks about group economics for Black people. So if you're not familiar with who he is, I say Google him. I can't give you his whole bio right now, but so in any event, I am going to go ahead and.
In the House of the Congress, you had congressmen, white congressmen, radical, we call a few liberal Republicans, that says that in this country, there's only two things that a Black person will ever be. They're going to be slaves and they're going to be free. Minimally, for a Black person in America to be free, you must have 40 acres, a mule, and $100. I've never heard Black folk make an issue of that. You must have minimally have 40 acres, a mule, and $100. And guess what? Andrew Johnson, who replaced Lincoln, vetoed it. Because why? Because it was an economic issue. Civil rights was an economic issue. I told you that going back to capitalism. Black people are the only people in this country that continue to try to practice and is being forced to try to practice capitalism without capital. It can't be done. That's why I'm going through this exercise before I get deep into my notes. I want y'all to understand these points. You cannot practice capitalism without capital. Now, let's go back now. So they turned Black folk loose. Guess what? They didn't get the 40 acres of the mule. Neither did they get the $100. They turned them loose free, penniless, poor, powerless, diseducated, non-educated, no religion, no home, no land, no family, nothing.
Okay. Any comments? So you notice that they said that they was, I played a video yesterday about how they knew where we was at, and that all the Israelites, all 12 tribes is over in Africa, and how that, there was bowls, like the Most High said. There was bowls. There was men's men, and so that's why they went there to get those, those powerful men, and that's how America became great. So what you're looking at is no different than now with Bitcoin. They trading Bitcoin the same way they did with us. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Like I said, it's Esau behind it. And they giving us, making us think that it's giving us all this misinformation, keeping us totally confused at odds with each other. And the whole time they know the truth. They're giving us all kind of whacked out information. And the average person, average Israelite can't really divide it. And they've just been doing it over and over and over and over. Instead of staking the money while they're doing it. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else got any comments or questions?
About the Claude Anderson, I remember him saying something about the money, the 40 acres and a mule and all of that. Um, they were supposed to give it to the blacks when they were freed, but they gave it to the Native Americans.
Yeah.
And, they gave all of the things that were, um, and the Native Americans at that time, whoever they were, then that's when they got out the people like the $5 Indians and all of that,
Right.
that were, that stuff was set aside for African Americans, and they gave it to, because they, I don't know, I guess kind of usurped, um, I guess some African Americans living on the reservations or something, and then the Native Americans were supposed to give a portion, but they never did. I don't know. It's a whole lecture he was doing about that, and I thought that was, that the blacks never got it. It was intended for the blacks, but um, it was supposed to be split, and the Native Americans, I don't know, had slaves too, or something like that. And they were supposed to, give it to the blacks. I don't know why they would give it to the Native Americans, but it was very interesting. He was talking about, you know, like everybody over here, benefited from us, and a lot of stuff that was allotted. But it's part of the curses, even though, like, we would have got it, it'd have been a different outcome, and it wasn't that time, I guess, sort of like y'all were talking about yesterday.
Right.
Just, wasn't meant to be at that time.
Exactly. Right. And they know what we're capable of. If we had any resources. And so, because of what our forefathers was doing. So that's why it's of the utmost importance that they don't give us nothing. They make sure that we don't have nothing. They're gonna do that until Most High break their back, because they're not gonna all of a sudden uh, do anything.
Shalom.
Yeah.
Shalom.
Okay.
Native Americans were given reparation. Japanese Americans were given reparation because of World War II that interned there. The
Right.
Marshall Plan helped the Jews receive reparation for the Holocaust.
Right.
And you think about everything our ancestors went through. Slavery was particularly brutal.
Right.
15% of our ancestors died just on the voyage, just from transport. And then you think about all the lynching and separating marriages and children from their parents. It was just brutal all the way through. But our time is coming.
Right. Exactly. You can see it. Like I said, he doing exactly what he said. Right now, everything being disrupted. That's why they acting the way they act. They see the world is coming unglued in front of their face. So you're getting all these Karens from. You see what's happening. Yeah.
Shalom. They don't want to do it, but they're going to be forced to.
Exactly. Right. Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? Okay. Yeah, I got a little cold, so I'm gonna put this uh right here on here, and then I'm gonna close out. This let me get it. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, it says it's an enormous asteroid, twice the size of the Empire State Building, to pass the Earth next week. Another asteroid, an asteroid that could be twice as large as the height of the Empire State Building, is set to pass the Earth on Friday, January the 7th. Okay. According to NASA Center for Near East Object Studies, the asteroid uh, will pass over the planet at a distance of around 8.3 million miles. Earth's nearest planetary neighbor, Venus, is 3 times as far away from our planet as the distance in which the asteroid will pass. Mars is located at an average of about 17 times the distance, around 140 million miles from Earth. It will be traveling at a speed of around 337,500 miles per hour. That's around 30 times as fast as a jet fighter and around 18 times as fast as a bullet fired from a rifle. So, like I said before, keep your eyes on that. They keep on bringing up these asteroids. It's like I said, it's Little Bo Peep, uh, Crying Wolf. I think it's Crying Wolf, and he kept crying wolf, and nobody paid no attention. And this is what their objective is. They want you to think it's knowing what their plans are, but they're acting like got you thinking that you know the things they're telling you right here and the distance and all that, it's possible that it can make a impact on the earth. But they got a plan for that. Like I said, it's on the money. Okay. Anybody else got anything before we go? Everybody good?
Oh, good.
Yeah, I got a horrible headache, man. Okay. Shalom. I see the women tomorrow at 8 o'clock for the women's line. They see everybody else on Friday. Shalom.
Shalom.
Okay.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Long.